All right, we're live.
Oh, all right. Okay. So now I have to really behave myself because I'm on your channel.
That's right.
Uh, I don't expect you to behave yourself on your channel, but you know, I'll take more risk on mine than I will other people's, and stuff. Do we got people coming in?
Let me see. I'm gonna hop on here quick and. Ugh. Sorry, I still got sweat in my eyes from my run.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. Celtic
Did you,
Grandpa's here.
oh,
Teresa,
good, good,
Holly
good,
Ivan.
good, good, good.
All right, and we got a 5x5 from Teresa.
All right. So now we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. I tell you what, man, that stuff, that's enough to make you go freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Messing with that stuff. And I apologize to everybody on that. So how we're gonna handle it? We're piggybacking on Pennsylvania Preparedness's channel, and he had me on a couple weeks ago for an interview from him, and I thought it was really cool that I wanted to interview him, and I think that fair's fair. So, are you ready?
I'm ready. Always ready.
Well, I've heard that a lot of times. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. All right. First of all, this general question. Tell us all about your channel because there's might be some people in here that haven't been to your channel before. I'm not sure if they have.
Yeah. I mean, my channel's still pretty small, so luckily, you get that one-on-one experience. If you message me, I'll answer. I don't really have much of a choice. I don't get very many emails. So, uh,
Oh, well.
or my channel's mostly just it's a sort of a hodgepodge. Lately, it's been a lot of physical fitness and live interviews, stuff like that, because of all the time that's my life has been consumed by exercise lately because I have some fitness goals I'm trying to get to, and of course that's a big part of prepping is getting in shape and stuff like that. Especially if I'm going to be running around with level 4 plates or something, that's something that you gotta you gotta build up your endurance for just a little bit. But
I tell you what, yeah, put a bunch of rocks in that backpack and take a hike and go for a run. That'll really get your endurance and stamina up. I tell you what, that 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 stuff don't play, especially when you're not used to doing it with all that equipment on and stuff.
yeah,
Damn.
I hiked with some buddies and I brought my inch bag, like the bag that has everything but the kitchen sink and maybe even the kitchen sink. And that was a workout. And it was flat for the most part. We went like 10 miles on the Appalachian Trail,
Ah,
relatively flat. No part of the Appalachian Trail is really flat.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, by the end of it, and it started raining at the end too. So I was like, man, this is a good test. And boy, was it. But
Yeah, you don't realize, once you get out there and stuff, because then you really understand how your breathing techniques are. You got to learn how to breathe when you're doing all that stuff and pace yourself.
yeah,
Whenever I used to go out hiking, of course, I'd take everything that I needed with me, overkill sometimes, and I have to drop it off on the trail, under a bush or something. And I tell you what, I pick it back up on the way fucking down, man. Yeah. I was like, I'm dead.
uh-huh.
Fuck. All right, so I got something for you.
All right.
Tell me or tell us, because I'm very curious about this with preppers and survivalists and bushcrafters. Anybody pretty much who preps, they're prepping because, of course, they don't trust somebody. And so, what conspiracy theory that you thought was crazy? You thought it was crazy out your head, but actually occurred.
That's a good question. Ooh, uh, well, see, that's the thing. I never really put anything past anybody, so I can't really say I never thought it was out of the realm of possibility. But I know I always, whenever somebody would talk about aliens, I sort of
Oh
always
shit!
back my mind. I was like, they're talking about aliens abducting them. I'm like, do I really believe that? I always wanted to believe that there was some sort of intelligent life out there, but the government during COVID, during the lockdowns, we'll say, came out and talked about how they had all these unidentified craft, not just in the air, but along the ocean. And, I was, that there was some merit to it when they put it out the same time that they put out about the whole thing with John F. Kennedy. And I'm just like that. And then Tiger King comes out. I'm like, they're really trying to distract us. They're like, JFK, Tiger King. I was like, what else are they going to come out with? And it was just kind of crazy times. But
Yeah.
I would have to say the fact that the government acknowledged that there were unidentified flying objects and you know things that were out of their realm. That's
Uh-huh.
definitely something I never thought that they would admit to, or if they did, I didn't think that I thought that they would be like, oh, there's nothing to fear, we know
Yeah.
all about it. Instead it was like, yeah, we flat out don't know what these things are, and
Yeah.
here's some videos. I was like,
I had a moment of glory. I went around to all my freaking friends and family that's been calling me crazy for years, and I said, "Told you so, motherfuckers. Told
uh-huh.
ya. I told you they're there." They couldn't say anything. They're just like, "Yeah, yeah." They just knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
They knew something wasn't right. All right. So you've touched on this a little bit, but what do you get out of having a YouTube channel?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, first of all, the networking.
Mhm.
I've reached out to a lot of really great folks, and I made a lot of connections all over the country. And I think that that is one of the first and foremost parts of becoming I want to say like a new age prepper. The old way was, you know, getting rice and beans and hunkering down in your basement, and yeah, telling nobody really. And
Yeah.
the way that things are now is, when you have all the connection from all over the country, that's sort of a great thing, because if something bad were to happen on, let's say, the East Coast, and there were to be people that I could connect with all over the country, it might be possible for me to go somewhere that I would be safe compared to, or let's say, for instance, like Yellowstone, if that were to ever become the super volcano and
Mhm.
all that, the people that live in that area are going to need somewhere to go. So it's like those people could probably come to the East Coast, or they'd probably be better off on the West Coast due to the
Right.
current, the air currents. But it's like having these connections and also the ability to share information to everybody is just incredible.
Man, I dig that part of it, sharing the information, and it's because there's 100 ways to do one thing, and the more you know how to do it, the better off you'll be in the long run. I think another little shiny side to that coin you was talking about, I was reaching out and connecting, is that not always possibly the whole country goes down at the same time. It might be parts. So, you know, somebody could get a hold of somebody on the East Coast that's here in the Midwest or even in Texas, find out what's going on, and stuff like that, and vice versa. If no one could get anything out, it's like I'm seeing this on my side, just like you was talking about.
Right.
That's pretty cool. Well, you told us that you was working out and stuff and everything. So I'm not even going to ask you about that because I know physical fitness is a big, big deal. Uh, you can't be fat and run. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you could, but the odds of you getting real far is not gonna happen.
Well, no.
You'll be zombie dinner. They'll eat you up quick because you're slow. But what are some things that you've been working on as far as your physical fitness besides the running? You said the endurance and the hiking, and how often do you do that?
Well, I really would like to get out hiking here soon. The problem is I'm trying to build up my speed right now, and that doesn't really allow me to go hiking.
Yeah.
Hiking is more for endurance, but if and when I can get my speed goal, as soon as I can get out there hiking, I definitely will be. But Now, right now, it's basically intervals to increase speed, and like today is supposed to be my long run, so
Yeah.
I only ran 3.5 miles before this.
Well,
But
I'm glad you stopped to come in. I appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, well,
Thank
hey,
you for
between running and sitting down and doing this, I'd much prefer this because I was getting kind of tired.
yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay, so here you go. What's your opinion on the grass is greener on the other side?
Well, I've heard that a lot, and luckily, I'm pretty optimistic most times on a lot of things. So, you know, it might look greener. I'm happy where I'm at times, but it depends on the situation. I'm not normally the type of person that'll jump without checking out the other side first because you never know if that green grass is greener because it's got a little extra fertilizer in it or something like that.
Or it's fake.
Yeah, or it's fake.
That'll work. That'll work. Okay. Now, this is a pretty serious one because I've noticed a lot of times when I'm out there surfing and doing research and watching other channels and just kind of seeing what the vibe is. A lot of people say what they're going to do, but doing it's a whole different thing. And so I'm going to ask you the scariest moment of your life and what did or did not and how did you react to it? It doesn't have to be necessarily personal, but something that came up that you had to like put some serious effort into not to freak the fuck out.
um, that's a good question, and that's something I don't think I've ever been asked that.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Well, man, that is a thinker. Well, I guess I'd really have to go back to when I was real young. When I was on a family vacation, there was a F5 tornado. Me and
Oh
my
yeah.
family were going through Kansas, and I had never experienced anything like that before, and really, I didn't do anything. I was like maybe 8, 10, something like that, like really young. And I'll tell you what, that was real scary. I I can remember like the sky was purple and it was real windy, raining like crazy, but that had to be probably one of the scariest moments of my life, seeing, in between the lightning strikes, being able to see this giant wall of I didn't know what it was because I was so
Yeah.
young. And
How do you remember how your parents were reacting? What were they? Were they trying to calm y'all or calm you or?
I was pretty calm. I just thought it was cool. Uh,
Mhm.
Scary but cool. And I would say my parents were pretty level-headed. I know my dad, he was moving quickly but with a level head. And thinking back, I think that's how I pretty much handle things.
Yeah.
But especially now that I've been in some pretty serious situations in my life. So
Yeah.
I definitely would like to think that's how I'd handle something like that with my kids. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, that's something that people until you get into that situation, it's hard to tell how you react, but you can kind of gauge it on how you react to similar situations but different circumstances. If it's consistent across the board, or if it's something that, oh, okay, I can't handle this, I'm gonna freak the fuck out, or but oh, I'm good on this, I know how to handle this, and it has to be consistent across the board.
hmm
Okay, red or blue pill, and why?
Oh, okay. The red pill is follow the rabbit hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd have to say I'm a red pill kind of guy.
Why?
I know that they say ignorance is bliss, but I don't like convenient lies. I prefer down and dirty truths.
Yes, hard truths are very productive, I think. In my experience, they are productive.
Yeah, I will go out of my way to way out of my comfort zone to find a truth out. Like even in my personal, like if I feel as though I'm always trying to improve, so if I'm trying to improve my performance on something, I ask the questions even if I know it's going to make me feel a little bit, like crap. I like
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't like me, I'll go up to them and be like, hey, what's up? Why don't you like me? And they're like, oh, I'm like, no, you didn't say it, but you're acting like an a-hole. So like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, your body language is implying something fucking totally different, girlfriend.
Exactly. Exactly.
You check yourself where you wreck yourself, biatch.
Yeah. Most people don't even want to have that awkward conversation. I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey, what's up? You know,
Right, right. Well, my cigar had a hole in it, so I had to break it off. So, yeah. Anyway, I like to ask that question because sometimes I find myself just wanting to take half of that blue pill,
mm,
just half, So, I'm kind of in it and I'm kind of out of it, but it's gotten to where now you have to go down that rabbit hole because you don't know what the truth is anymore, and because of all the propaganda and the disinformation and all the extra stuff, it makes it really hard to discern sometimes.
mm,
And I think they like to try and exhaust you with that, individuals with that kind of stuff.
yeah. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. I personally, I definitely try to limit my exposure to the media.
Yeah.
What I do is, at the most, I'll take a couple different sources and try to grab what all three say and try to figure out what the truth is. But for the most part, you have to almost come up with a lot of stuff yourself and just look at where everything points to.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, you can see right here, I'm in my truck today, right here in the front yard, in the driveway, and everything's freaking perfect. If you were deaf and you never couldn't read or anything, and you're just going by eyesight only, it's perfect. But when I go to, let's say, the grocery store or catch some of that deep fake news, or even might even catch a glimmer of something real, it's like, damn,
Yeah.
what's next? Okay, so now this is a tricky question. I'm going to say tricky because you got to really think about this. But if you had 3 hours before total collapse of society, it's total collapse, okay,
Hmm.
and you knew about it, what would be the top 5 things to complete, and how long would it take you to do that, to get in your vehicle? Let's say if you had to bug out.
Mm, just calculating here. I think it would take so.
And you've only got 3 hours until everybody else finds out about the shit, but you know about it.
Yeah.
So everything that you've got to do to get ready to get to, say, your bug out location.
I would probably say that would take me about 2 hours. About 2 hours to gather my supplies, the ones that I have ready, the ones that I would bug out with, um, and then probably,
They're coming after you.
yeah, at a fire station right next to my house. But yeah, I'd probably say 2 hours. 2 hours to get everything ready and there, and then I would take the rest of the time doing inventory, making sure everything was ready, and then because it really depends on what exactly the scenario is as far
It's
as.
total collapse. It's balls to the fucking wall. There ain't no coming back. You got to get the hell out of Dodge and get out of there now. I mean, total collapse.
I mean, if it's just a collapse of like the infrastructure and like the economy and the grid and all that stuff, like for instance, let's my personal worst case scenario would probably be a thermonuclear war. So airburst, atomic weapon, EMP takes down the grid. If somehow I knew that that was going to happen in 3 hours, um, my supplies have the things I would need for that scenario. I mean, obviously not in whole, uh, but the things I would need to survive it. I obviously wouldn't be able to bug out with a bunker, or I wouldn't be able to bug out with, every
Let's just
supply.
say, yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's not,
could be like getting to your bunker. It's included in that 3 hours.
yeah.
You
So
know, have you anticipated any type of, and this is all assuming that everything goes well. So you put yourself on about a 2 hour timeline within 1 hour leeway, possibly.
yeah, probably. I think, yeah. I mean, if I knew it was going to happen in, let's say, an hour, I'm
Mm-hmm.
that I could cut that down and just grab like probably like my inch bag, probably some of the food I have ready to go for in a bug out scenario, probably some of my other items that I would use for protection. I have some essential ones, like I have priority one, twos, and threes.
Yeah.
That would be like a priority one scenario, whereas like priority three might be, hey, the economy keeps going down and down and down, and I lose my job, and then the dollar isn't worth anything, and then all of a sudden like you can't buy food. That'd be like a long term. You'd have plenty of time to get ready, whereas something like you know
Yeah. Like it's a total collapse with WORL. I mean, it's balls to the wall, each their own, and
yeah,
you knew that was coming. You're going to put a little fire up underneath it.
yeah,
Uh, you know, well, see, I have the same question, but it's just the opposite. You're bugging in. Now you've got all your stuff right there where you're at, 9 times out of 10. Uh, what are some things that you would prepare for security? Let's say hypothetically, would you, let's say, board up some windows, black out some windows, trash it out? You know, what kind of things would you do like that?
yeah. That's actually one of the very first things is I would definitely make sure that I do have wood that's pre-cut for my windows. That's even if there's a big storm and I know it's gonna be to the point that it could crack the windows, that's something I could do pretty quickly. Um, I would definitely try to, if I have time and the gas stations aren't crazy, try to fill up both vehicles if possible, and also fill up the extra gas cans that I have.
Now,
Um,
do you, with your vehicles, do you have some way to take them inside of the garage, or would they be out on the street or in a driveway? You
they'd be
know what I'm saying? Where they be vulnerable, where you could not, say you can't, once you're back inside, you can't go back out.
they would be in a driveway, but they would be exposed, unfortunately. Uh,
Yeah. See, those are the little things that I think about behind these questions, because I think about what I would do. Luckily we have a garage that my vehicle would fit in. Uh, but I'm thinking with a WRL, people might be coming kicking in doors, busting out windows, taking vehicles, siphoning gas, whatever the case may be. And I would not leave the inside of my bug in to go protect my vehicle.
oh yeah.
Let them take the motherfucker. That goes back to prepping your body and going through your routes. And this is just kind of how I think when I come up with these questions. So
Hmm.
I think your answers are good. What about like with water? Let's say you got your water storage. Would you start filling up your sinks, anything that could hold water, stuff like that?
Yep. Yeah, I have a water bob that's actually in my bathroom ready to go. So I remember when I got it, I was just like, oh, this might come in handy. And I just sat it there. And every time I pass by it, I'm like, oh, that's still there. And I'm like, I guess that's good that I keep remembering it because no, my luck, something would start and I'd just be like, oh, where did I put that thing? And just completely forget. And I also have trash bags ready to go for water storage if possible. Um,
Yeah.
Basically, I'm just going to keep filling stuff up until the water turns off.
Yeah. A lot of people take that for granted when they go to turn that knob.
Hmm.
Even though I pay my bill every month and I expect that water to be coming off, they still have control over it,
Yeah.
and that's just something. There's a pond that's near here, and that water is nasty as all get out. It'll clog up one of those straws, a Berkey, it'll clog it up.
Uh,
So I'm like, man, you gotta filter the water first before you even start to filter the water. Uh,
yeah.
before you even start getting it ready to drink. But I was like, it can be done. I've seen it done before. Okay, what is your fantasy mag for SHTF?
Hmm. That's a good question. You mean like
Like if you could have anybody or anything, it doesn't matter. You know, uh, in your mag for SHTF, it's all set up. But who would you have in it? What would you have in it? Would you have like big, strong people? I'm not talking about the ones that you're talking to on internet or anything like that. You know,
huh? I don't know. I mean, I would definitely want it to be a mix of people. I would want it to be probably people that I don't know. I guess some people that have medical training, some people that know gunsmithing, some that know how to cook, some people know how to. I would definitely want people that are skilled with bushcrafting or camping or the outdoors, because that's basically what it's going to boil down to. Um, I would think having hunters in your group would be big too, um,
yeah,
as well as people that know, like farmers, somebody that would know how to plant, what to plant, how much, and how to properly do everything like that. Um, Somebody that knows communications. Even though I know medical stuff, it would be nice to have other people that know medical stuff because, what if I get sick, or, what if there's something too big of an incident that I can't help out? So I don't know. I guess it would just be a hodgepodge of preparedness mutts,
a motley crew, huh?
Yeah, a whole bunch of everybody that nobody else wanted that, I'd be like, well, I'll take you. I think you're good enough. I'll take you over here and we'll show them what's up. We'll have a party, an apocalypse party. I don't know.
That's right. That's right. Going out south.
Yeah.
What's your EDC?
Um, Typically it's, yeah, I think I can say the name of it. A Ruger Security 9. It's actually, obviously I'm not going to show it now,
Right. Right.
but
Well, we're on your channel. Don't
yeah,
forget.
true. Uh, that's actually got on me right now, and
Yeah.
that's what I had for my run, which is funny because it's a full size. And
Yeah.
um, I used to carry my Smith and Wesson not bodyguard shield 9 millimeter, and I was carrying that for the longest time, and it actually kept slipping. I wear like a elastic belt band that I can slide it into, and it kept sliding out of that. I don't know if I just got a really cruddy one or what, but
Huh.
like the day I was running and it slipped down my pant leg,
Oh man.
and I just stopped in the middle of my run and I'm like, there's people around. I was like, how am I gonna do this? So I like limped back behind a dump. Pretty sure that the people thought I like pooped my pants, like the way that I was waddling. I was like, oh, but
Oh, that's funny.
yeah,
Yeah, you shoot yourself in the toe, in the pinky toe. He shot himself in the pinky toe.
I could, I would never live that down.
No. Nope. Okay, let's see. What's a prediction coming from you? What do you think for 2024?
As far as what will
It doesn't matter. It could be the sky's going to turn green. It doesn't matter. What's your prediction?
for 2024.
First thing that comes to mind.
Well, I definitely feel like the Chicago River is going to turn green here in about a week.
Why is that? Because of St. Patrick's?
Yeah. Um, hmm. I would definitely have to say that there's going to be some there's going to be some unrest of sorts, whether it's due to the border crisis or the elections or whatever the reason might be. Um, we saw enough of that just a couple of years ago
Yeah.
that it's not too far fetched to see it happening again.
Do you think it will be worse or less?
Um, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are sort of tired of the like during that time. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that got let to slide, and I feel like people are sort of fed up with it now. Like
Mhm.
blocking the roads, you see people just they're like, I don't really care. I'm gonna keep going. You see it all the time where they're just like, I'm tired of this. I'm done. I understand when people are protesting. It's everybody's right to protest, but it's like after a while you get fed up with it, and
Yeah.
you know, I feel like that's where a lot of people are with it. They're just sort of fed up with, you know, getting screamed at and, people thinking that they can F around without the finding out part.
I know that's right. I love to give them the finding out part. I just like to look at those reactions on there. That initial shock, it
Hmm.
just speaks fucking volumes.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Okay, I'll behave. We're on your channel.
No, no, yeah,
Okay.
I totally agree. I remember when I was a corrections officer, I used to go around, and that was my saying. I'd be like, "You gonna f around? You gonna find out?" And they'd be like, "What's that mean? Is that a threat?" I'm like,
Well,
"Say
let me show you real quick. You can't read lips, so let me give you some fucking sign language.
pretty much." I was always like,
Okay.
"Find out."
Okay, how about this? Now this is one, and I know a lot of people have been in this situation, and history has shown time and time again in a total shit hitting the fan scenario, everything down, WRL, let's say we're like 17, 1800s, before electricity, before the motor, all that, before the plumbing and all that kind of stuff. What would you be willing to do to survive if you could not have any type of preps? Would you be willing to marauder, or would you be one of those who gather community against the marauders? You see what I'm saying? But it's still kind of the same way. You do it the nice way or you do it the hard way.
Hmm. Well, I would definitely say I would be part of a community, um, because I feel like when something like that happens, that's what you need to do. Whether you want to or not, eventually you're going to get sick. You're going to need to sleep. You're going to need something you don't have that somebody else does. And on top of everything, that's how people function. Is we need human interaction. So yeah, I think if any show could prove that, it would be like the show Alone. We
Yeah.
human interaction whether we like it or not, and you might be able to go a year or two without human interaction, but you know
No,
that
I'm
one.
not talking about lone wolf. I'm talking about a marauder group.
Yeah,
Now they're a community in their own right. They just take stuff.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? If it come down to it and your community was lacking, everybody's starving and shit like that, and there was a community over there, would y'all try to integrate or would you maraud?
I would definitely say try to integrate as best
Yeah.
as I can. That's them integrating with us or vice versa. Um, but at the same time, it also really depends on a big thing such as, you know, what if they're a smaller group and they are the type of people that, let's say that they're cannibals, is that something that I want in my group? No. But maybe say that they're saving some food that they don't want to eat and they're trying to eat my people. I mean, chances are I'm going to be like, you're going to F around and find out, But
Yeah.
time, could be a group of, you know, who actually proposed a similar question was All American Prepper. He's been doing a series lately. And
Uh-huh.
question almost like that came up. Obviously, yours is different, but yeah, it got me thinking. And I would have
I
to say,
seen that too. If he's in the chat, hello, All American Prepper. I said, save all the fat people their dinner.
did a little bit of seasoning on there, but
That's right. I got bouillon.
yeah, I would like to say that I would do my very best to not to be an aggressive group, but obviously when you come into situations like that, it's gonna
Yeah.
happen whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So even if you're trying to be nice, the other people might not be, or the same reason that you don't always want other people to know how much preps you have is because
Right.
when stuff goes down, they might try to break into your house to try to get.
They will. They definitely will. When I was coming up with that question, I was thinking about the movie The Road. And what they went through. They bugged in to start and they stayed as long as they could, and then they had to go out, and the mom lost her wits about her, and he had that kid, and there were people out there eating people,
Mm,
so they had to not only try and scavenge for what they could find, but find a group, and they couldn't find a group.
mm,
But if you had never seen The Road, check it out. It's pretty it's dark,
yeah.
and it's about survival and stuff. Let's see. Now I know that you don't. Do you homestead?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't have it's not like I have a huge farm or anything to homestead on, but I do homesteading, yeah.
What's the hardest part of it?
Getting everything done. You come up with a list and it almost seems like it's never ending.
Yeah.
How much you have on the list or how many things you knock off of it. There's always something else you could do, something you could do to make it better. And it's hard to keep up with, I gotta say. Um, I can't imagine if I had like a real farm with animals and stuff. I'd probably be. I don't think anybody'd really see me, or I'd have to do lives while feeding the animals or while
Hmm.
or something. So you know,
Well, see, there's another channel that I'm going to interview. It's Nunya, Texas on the back 20, and he's got a pretty good sized homestead. He's constantly busy, constantly from night to night, nonstop. And I think that a lot of people, even just a small amount of things that I do around this little suburbia area is exhausting, you
mhm,
know. Uh, and then you're gonna have to juggle family life and you have to juggle work life or whatever else comes along with it, and it wears you out.
yeah.
It definitely wears you out and you gotta pace yourself. Um, did you grow up gardening or canning or anything like that? Were you taught that as a young person?
I was definitely not taught canning. Gardening, sort of, kinda. Like
Yeah,
we grew stuff in the backyard, and uh, through Boy Scouts, I was taught how to garden. But for the most part, I wasn't really raised like my family wasn't preppers or
yeah.
setting, but um, I definitely got a lot of that from Boy Scouts.
Yeah, you had talked about that before in the last live that we done and how it had an impact on your life and continues to have an impact on your life. It's just little things like that that you carry with you that for some reason you've got it and you're using it as an adult, which is really important. Let's see. So do you have any chickens?
Besides my dog, that's a scaredy cat, and no, I do not.
Okay, so we'll pass that question then. Uh, if you could change something, one thing, it can be personal. It doesn't have to be personal. What would it be?
Um, you mean with my preparedness stuff, or just the world as a whole?
It could be your preparedness. It could be anything that you want it to be. If it's just one thing that you could change.
I would have to say, if I could, I would like to be in peak physical fitness right now, but I don't. I'm working on that, so I would have to say I won't count that as my one thing I want to change. But I would probably have to say, I would like to be able to. I would like to be able to have more room. That
Oh
would be
yeah.
because I'm limited by the space. I have area to do stuff, but only so much without getting in the way of everybody. Like I came down here because, there's not enough room upstairs anymore, so I'm stuck down in my basement.
Oh wow. Wow. See, we don't have basements in this part of Texas. Now they might have storm shelters. They're usually not attached to the house, but and we don't have really big attics either. Everything's kind of flat around here. What's the best job you ever had?
Ooh, oh, that's a good question. See, I'm very blessed. I'm the kind of person that I love my job, no matter what it is.
Hmm.
I would have to say, hands down, the worst job I've ever had was being a correctional officer.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that at all. It was during it was during 2019 to 23 or 2022, so you know what it was in the height of. So
Yeah.
imagine doing that job in that setting during that time. It was not a good experience at all.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can only imagine. I tell people because they pay pretty good here in Texas for correction officers, and I tell people, I say, you don't realize the fine print says that you're going to prison every fucking day. Uh,
Yeah.
that's the fine print. You're going to prison every day, man.
Oh yeah.
There's risk involved with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I would definitely have to say the best job I ever had was it was when I was working at a casino. That was
uh,
the most fun job because I was still an EMT. So I still got to do the EMT stuff, except for I wasn't getting rained on and I wasn't getting shot at. And it was just a fun time. I can't, it was like everybody I worked with was my best friend. And it was just, you never get bored working in a casino. There's always something to do, something going on.
did anything about that job prepare you for where you're at right now as far as your mindset is concerned? Can you look back at that job and say, that's what that job was all about, besides just the obvious, you know?
Yeah, I mean, working security in a casino is one of those jobs where you have to always be looking around because there's so many people and most of the people in there aren't doing anything. They're just focused on the slot machines. It's the people that stick out and I really got good at people watching there. I had other security jobs before, but in a job like that, you get way better at reading body language because the people that are bad in a casino are the people
Hmm.
that are real bad. People that might have a firearm on them and might use it. That
Right.
it's high stakes and high risk, and you definitely get to learn body language and how to read people in a job like that.
So it taught you how to really keep your head on a swivel
Yes.
and profile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just on specific things, but just as a whole, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you could tell your 20-year-old self something, what would it be?
I could tell my 20-year-old something. I would say don't be afraid of failure. There's one thing I could go back and, grab myself and shake myself and put one lesson in my head. I'd be like, if you want to do something, go for it. If you fail, do it again. When you fail that time, do it again. Keep getting better.
Mhm.
Because growing up, there was a lot of things I thought to myself. I was like, oh, I'm going to wait until I get better, or I'm going to, you know, try to get better at this before doing it. And that's not how you learn. As I grew up, I learned best from being thrown to the wolves, sink or swim type of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You learn it on your feet. Like I call that on the job training.
yeah.
Uh, your training's on the job. Yeah. Um, this is kind of off topic a little bit. What's your thoughts about voting? You think it works or it doesn't work?
Um, hmm. That is that is a good question. I
Hi,
would
baby.
I would really like to think it still works. Um, I
That's
don't.
good. That's good. You just like to think it still works. That'll work.
Yeah,
You don't have to go into a lot of detail on that because everybody's, you know, they've got us all so confused and so discombobulated and bamboozled that everyday Americans don't even know if it works or not anymore. All the proof is there that, hey, it's on the negative side. But Joe, oh, I vote no confidence. That's about me like paying attention. I'm so broke I can't even pay attention. Uh Joel. Shit. Okay. If you could go back in time, what era in history would you go back in?
hmm. I would definitely have to say, uh, I mean, except for the fact that they had polio and a whole lot of other really bad diseases back then, and the fact that World War II was going on, I would really like to have been raised in that era. Like, I guess that would be the greatest generation. That generation. I would like to. I feel like there was a lot more purpose. A lot more people had pride in what they did, no matter what it was, and
Yeah.
that there was a sense of patriotism that you just don't get anymore. And
Yeah.
I, I always feel like I was raised in the wrong era, but what are you gonna do? Here I am stuck here now, so I got to make the best of it.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I'm a little far out there. I'd like to go back to 2700 BC.
Wow, that's
I want to see what the fuck's going on with the pyramids. I want to see what the hell the fuck's going on.
yeah,
Because they live, they survive, they've got history. It's ancient. They had technology. What was it like? Really, and how did those damn things really get built? Just saying.
yeah.
You
That's
know.
interesting to see.
Okay, here's one for you. You got to tread real lightly on this one. It's very important. Very important. Have you ever been to Texas?
Um, I was, but just as a stopping point. I went to New Mexico for a hiking trip, and I stopped. I forget which airport it was, but that was like a stopping point before we went to New Mexico. So I didn't actually get out of the airport, so I guess I can't really say I got to experience
What's taking you so long? Anyway,
it. I'll tell you what. I made a list one time of like the top 5 states I would move to. Texas
yeah,
was 1 and 2.
yeah, Texas 1 and 2, right, right. Okay, here's one for you. And a lot of people, they've got things that's happened that's led them to where they're at now. But in that process, in that adventure, have you ever been homeless? And if you had, how did you manage that? Love you,
Um,
Tomcat.
I have never been homeless, and I'm very thankful for that. Um, I mean, at one point, I was living in a fire station, but that was my own choice. Um, and it was while I was going to college. I didn't really, if I ever need to or wanted to, my mom or my dad would like accept me into their house for whatever, you
I
know.
got you. I
But
got you.
yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm very blessed. I've never been homeless. You know, the closest I've ever gotten is probably sleeping with, you know, I was about to say sleeping with five other guys, but I meant,
Don't say that with all these people in here. They're fucking
I
freaks.
I would say sleeping outdoors with boys while I was in Boy Scouts. Yeah. Sometimes I don't think before I talk, and that's, you know,
That's okay. You're okay.
but
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what. Sometimes we can be ruthless. Y'all be nice. Anyway, uh, something you learned from travel or another culture that you utilize today.
hmm, that's a good question. Man, you got a lot of really good questions.
I got 40 questions.
Wow. Let's see. Well, I'll answer all of them, but let's see. I would have to say, man, what is something I learned? I
I
would
learned how to cook tacos. I'm just saying.
the
You
what?
know, I said I learned how to cook tacos.
Well, I mean, probably the biggest culture shock for me was when I went to England for Boy Scouts, and it was a World Scouting Jamboree, so every country had scouts there from all over the world,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was really crazy to see everybody's culture everywhere. I mean, there were days like one day we invited an English troop over and we made tea, and like the next day we had some people from India come over and they made us some food, and uh, it was just incredible to experience all that stuff from all over the world.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I would definitely have to say that the thing I learned from that kind of culture and experiencing everybody else's culture is most people are pretty accepting of everybody else. I mean, there's some countries that don't really like us as Americans because they think we're stuck up, but you know, I would have to say that almost everybody is just, you know, they're just there to talk
Yeah,
and meet each other, and that's really it. You know, they're just people. I would have
yeah.
expected people from all over the world to, I don't know, just be a little less inviting, but
They're not too much different than yourself. You
exactly.
know, I learned that too. I did. I've learned that too. It's whenever all that extra gets thrown in there that kind of skews the perspective. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. All right, bow, pew pew, or slingshot.
Oh, definitely pew pew.
Yeah. If you
That's
didn't have pew pew, bow or slingshot.
hmm, I would have to go with bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I feel like depending on the slingshot, you got a lot more. You got a lot more power with a bow, but that's more specifically designed than a slingshot is.
Yeah. My whole thing with a slingshot, the reason why I asked that question, because it leads me to this. I've got a slingshot and I've got a bow. And the pew pews, well, you know, I just don't need to really discuss that too much because I just don't. And it's not like something that's an everyday carry or anything like that for me. But I figure on the slingshot, if I am a good shot at the other two and I'm excellent in my target, all I gotta do is put your eye out and you're going down. See? You hit them in the eye, they're going down with a slingshot. I'm just saying. This one of those things. The best mistake you ever made.
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, I would have to say putting too much trust in somebody. I definitely taught me to have much more of a reserve because once you get betrayed by somebody that you
Yes.
fully trust, that really teaches you one of the most valuable lessons in life. And I feel like, as awful as the experience was, I looking back, I'm very thankful that that happened to me because
Yeah.
it's definitely taught me to think through it. Like, I think I would have, if I didn't learn that lesson early on, I'd either be with somebody that I, just didn't treat me right, or I would be, having friendships that crumbled apart, or people that, were out there to go against me. So I would definitely say that was one of the best mistakes and life lessons I've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah. I made quite a few of them. I made a lot of good mistakes, but damn, the after coming out on the other side, I was like, ugh, you know, something I like to say is experience will give you wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and wisdom will give you perspective. Sometimes it's really hard to really see things for what they are, especially when another person is being not quite so transparent or truthful. And part of that, I think that job that you said that you had at the casino helps you with that as well, because you can kind of spot that body language. There's little key subtle things. Okay, what's the best dish that you cook
Ooh, the best.
besides raviolis?
I wouldn't really say that's a good dish. I just, but is the best dish that I make? Oh man, I don't really know. I'd probably have to say I do make some good rice.
Yeah.
Rice beans with some peas, and or not peas, pigeon peas. But
Yeah.
hmm, I don't know. I can't
Huh.
really say I make anything. I'm not an expert at any specific food.
Yeah. It's palatable. People eat it, but just don't come back for seconds.
Oh no, when I that's the thing. When I cook, I think it's really funny because my wife, she is Hispanic, and she always
Uh-huh.
like, you don't season stuff like everybody else. I was like, what's that mean? Because she's
Uh-huh.
like salt and pepper. I was like, oh no, I know how to put spice and stuff because I've had to be hiking in the backcountry with, you know, some unsalted chicken out of a can where
Mm.
the water because I was so thirsty. I was like, trust me, after eating that slop, I know how to cook some stuff.
Right, right on, right on. Okay, if there's one book that could describe your life, which one would it be?
Hmm. Prepping for dummies? No. um, oh, that's a good
One
question.
and two volume? No.
Um, no, I would probably have to say, I don't know. One of the books that had a huge impact on my life was a book called Verbal Judo.
Uh-huh.
It's a book that teaches, well, it runs off the principle of, so judo I think it means, I forget the exact quote, but it means like the gentle way. So judo is about using your opponent's momentum against them, or as some other people say, folding laundry with people in them. um,
Yeah.
so basically verbal judo is using somebody's argument to basically de-escalate and not win the argument but come out better at the other end. And
Right.
I live my life by that motto.
Okay.
That's, taking somebody else's argument, or if they're yelling at me, and basically turning it in a way that they end up feeling as though something positive came out of it. So I guess arguing, but everybody comes out a winner or feeling like a winner.
Yeah. I just tore you a new asshole, and you're taking it with a smile.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Cup half full or half empty?
Um, I guess half full, but after, if it's whiskey and it's in front of me, it'll be all gone. But you know, I'm definitely a glass half full kind of guy. Um, or somebody asked me that once, and one of my
Yeah.
says, "You're not a glass half full or a glass half empty. You're a I'm glad that there's something in the glass kind of guy." And I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
There you
fair."
go. Yeah, and that's a positive. That's a positive outlook. That's on positivity. Okay. Now, if we make it this far, what's your 5-year plan on preparedness?
Ooh. I do have I actually, it's funny that you say that, because I do have incremental plans for the future, and preparedness is obviously a big part of that.
Right.
5 years, I would like to have a homestead with at least 5 acres. I would like to have a car for each member of my family, plus one that is like a work vehicle that is always ready for bugging out. And I don't know. I would love to say have like an actual underground bunker slash shelter, all
Yeah. Yeah.
acres, but I think that's a little ambitious for 5 years for me.
Yeah.
Maybe a 10-year plan, but that, yeah, I would
That's
say
about.
definitely the homestead within
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's a good 5-year plan. That's plenty of time, to get your feet wet and get started on it and stuff. Well, that's the last of the questions, and I appreciate everybody that came in through Pennsylvania's channel and stuff, and I appreciate him doing all this because, you know, it's all about community, like you said. And Tomcat's world has an thank you, widow. Tomcat always says unity through community, and there's truth to that. Um, and so anyway, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for hanging out. Yeah, Joe says I don't make plans; they fall to pieces. Celtic Grandma, thank you all so very much. If y'all hadn't subscribed to Pennsylvania Preparedness, yeah, give him a shout out. Go over and subscribe to him. He's cool peoples. I don't care what they say about him. Uh, you know. But did you want to talk backstage? You just want to cut it off?
Oh, that's up to you.
Yeah, well, you go ahead and cut it off. This phone's about to die and stuff. But I appreciate you, man. I do, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And well,
All
I
right.
actually, but thanks for all the great questions. They got the thinker thinking for sure.
Well, that's what it's all about. Progress, not
Yeah.
perfection. We got to keep moving forward. All right.
All right.
Check you later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.